The agenda this evening is the mayor's report. First up, there will not be an executive session this evening. And September is a month where we usually have a proclamation or two, so I have several that I will be reading into the record this evening. The first one is for National Recovery Month. Whereas behavioral health is an essential part of health and one's overall wellness, and whereas prevention of mental and/or substance use disorders works, treatment is effective, and people's recovery is possible. And whereas recovery is a process, and that people recover in our local area and around the nation. And whereas we must encourage relatives and friends of people with mental and/or substance use disorders to implement preventative measures, recognize the signs of a problem, and guide those in need to appropriate treatment and recovery support services. I call upon community members to join me in observing this month, the month of September 2020, with appropriate programs, activities, and ceremonies supporting this year's Recovery Month. This is also Suicide Prevention Month. Whereas suicidal thoughts can affect anyone, regardless of age, gender, race, orientation, income level, religion, or background. And whereas, according to the CDC, the age-adjusted suicide rate in the U.S. increased by 33% from 1999 through 2017, and 47,173 people died by suicide in 2019. And whereas mental health is as important as physical health, and many people are experiencing increased anxiety and depression during the coronavirus epidemic, and whereas every member of our community should understand that throughout life's struggles, we all need the occasional reminder that we are all silently fighting our own battles. I urge all community members to join me in raising awareness to prevent suicide in our community. The third of fourth is Child Cancer Awareness Month, which is also September. Whereas pediatric cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in children, and whereas 1 in 285 children in the United States will be diagnosed by their 20th birthday, and whereas 80% of childhood cancer cases are diagnosed only after the disease has metastasized and spread to other parts of the body, and whereas 2/3 of childhood cancer patients will have long-lasting chronic conditions as a result of the treatment they go through, and whereas there has been a 24% increase in pediatric cancer cases over the last 40 years, equal to 43 children per day, or 15,780 children a year diagnosed with cancer in the United States. I encourage all community members to join in the activities that will increase awareness and prevent childhood cancer. And Welcoming Week also occurs in September, from September 18th to 27th. And whereas the east side cities of Bellevue, Issaquah, Kirkland, Redmond, and Sammamish have jointly celebrated East Side Welcoming Week for the past 4 years, and whereas these cities recognize the importance of ensuring that all residents feel safe, secure, and welcome, and whereas East King County is one of the most racially and ethnically diverse regions in Washington state, and whereas realizing our vision for a welcoming community requires actively addressing the lived experiences of those in our community who do not feel welcome, safe, valued, or included. And whereas recent events have highlighted the historic and current impacts of individual, institutional, and systemic racism that result in harmful disparities in education, employment, income, housing, criminal justice, and quality of life, as well as a sense of belonging. And whereas our community, like others across the nation, has structures, systems, and policies that contribute to injustice, racial inequality, and discriminatory treatment against residents who were born in another country, are Black, Indigenous, other people of color, LGBTQ, and other identities. And whereas to capitalize on diversity as an asset, our community must strive to create a culture and policies that ensure that everyone can belong and thrive by addressing disparities, countering hate, understanding history, and helping neighbors come together. The City of Issaquah is partnering with a number of local organizations to celebrate Welcoming Week from September 12th to 20th. Activities include community photo submissions, cultural panels, a family story stroll, and virtual dance and music watch party. For details, go to issaquahwa.gov/welcoming week. I invite the community to engage in opportunities during Eastside Welcoming Week and beyond to learn, to connect across differences, to take joint action to achieve a welcoming, equitable, and inclusive community, and reaffirm their commitment to continue to examine and adopt programs, policies, and practices that improve our efforts towards achieving equity for all now and in the future. That is the last proclamation for this evening. I do want to just add a little note of explanation that many of our partner organizations request these proclamations just to make sure that the council and the community is aware of these important activities that are going on, the days or weeks that they are celebrated, or the months that they are recognized. So thank you for that. The last item I had this evening is on the environmental board, and I want to provide a brief update on its formation following the August 13th Planning Policy Commission meeting. The administration received several comments and suggestions from both commissioners and members of the public for further details on the formation of the board. The commission moved to continue discussion to allow time for revisions and additional information to be presented at a later meeting. The administration is working to integrate comments received from the City Council, Planning Policy Commission, and the public, including revisions to the ordinance objective and several of the duties and responsibilities. We are also working on a draft environmental checklist and a process for community review of projects. There will be a new public hearing on the creation of the board at the Planning Policy Commission meeting on September 24th, and then the ordinance will come to council for action on October 5th. There is a lot of opportunity for this board to help shape the policies, plans, and regulations that guide the city's work and its impact on our climate, environment, and future. The city has prioritized taking time to work with the community, including residents, commissions, and council, to create a board that will help ensure the protection of our environment here in Issaquah. And that concludes the mayor's report. The